Dr. Subrato Bagchi, Chairman of Odisha Skills Development Authority, Dr. Pramod Meherda, Commissioner cum Secretary of Department of Health and Family Welfare, Mr. Prashant Reddy, Director Social Welfare of Department of Women and Child Development, colleagues, partners, young people over there, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to join us 70th anniversary of UNICEF's foundation. I just want to tell you something that I have been actually experiencing a lot. You know, whenever I actually get to meet a new person, this person asks me, what do you do for a living? And I say, I work for UNICEF. Almost invariably, this person says, oh, you work for UNICEF. You're doing something good. Most probably, that person doesn't know what UNICEF really does, but it doesn't matter. The reality that I have felt throughout my 17 years of service to UNICEF is that the image and the persona of the institution of UNICEF has been built in such a way that whether you know UNICEF or not, people still believe that UNICEF must be doing something good for children. Whenever I face this, it's not pride that I feel. It's not pride. I am filled mostly with a very heavy sense of obligation, a heavy weight of obligation towards the mandate of the organization, this great institution, turning me away thinking, did I do justice to actually serve and meet the expectation of UNICEF, and therefore the expectation of so many people out there who expect that UNICEF must be doing something good. And I am confident in saying that every single staff member of UNICEF, past and present, are deeply honored to be working for this institution and feel privileged to be associated with it. In the last couple of days, when I was preparing for this event, I was thinking about my own organization and these kinds of thoughts. And I was wondering, what makes UNICEF good? If you ask somebody who is not really associated with UNICEF and you ask them, what do you know about UNICEF? Why do you think UNICEF is doing something good? You probably will hear things like, we felt that the way that UNICEF was producing and providing milk to malnourished children, that was good. They may say, the ORS. UNICEF was providing ORS to treat the diarrhea, that was good. They may also say that polio vaccination, you did that one well. They may also say, oh, the villages had India Mark II hand pumps, that was good. They will remember UNICEF like this. Very few people will say, I think UNICEF is really good because UNICEF established a conceptual framework for reducing vulnerabilities of children. People will not be thinking like this. They will remember something that is tangible, that touched their lives. What does this mean? It means that I personally believe that UNICEF has been a good organization because it has been able to provide simple solutions to children, and that's what it mattered. For example, that is why if you have seen some of these, the exhibition there, the child survival revolution of the 1980s, it actually centered on 4 very simple stuff: growth monitoring, ORS for diarrhea treatment, breastfeeding, immunization. None of these were interventions of high science or rocket science. These were very, very simple things, but still it saved millions of lives, and it still stands true And that is why even in today's health and nutrition intervention, these are the essential interventions, even today. I sometimes also wonder, when the world is changing so fast and all these technologies are coming forward, will we still be able to be valued by the simple solutions? I thought about it, and I think that the resounding answer is yes. And I think that this is what we are still doing in Odisha, across India, and across the world. We will remain valuable because we will continue to provide simple solutions that matter to children. Second thought came to me, what makes UNICEF good? I thought it is because UNICEF has mud on its boots. It means that because we have soiled our hands on the ground. Oftentimes nowadays, even in our own organization, we talk a lot about upstream work, the policy work, the knowledge partnership. These are very conceptually heavy things, and we have to do it. It's very, very important. But none of these things will stand unless UNICEF has and continues to have mud on its boots by being on the ground. And because UNICEF has had mud on its boots, the government felt that we were authentic enough to lend a ear. And because of this, the donors were entrusting money to UNICEF to spend for children, and people perhaps continue to feel that there's something authentic and valuable that UNICEF offers. And because of this, I feel and I trust that when UNICEF sits down to speak to a minister or a high-level official, or when UNICEF is sitting down with a village leader, with an ASHA worker or a mother, we listen to them with the same level of respect and reverence, because the mud is what it actually counts for us to become relevant. Now, how do we actually keep these goodness of UNICEF as an organization into the future? And that's where I kind of stumble, because the world is so complex. It's getting very, very complicated. Now I was also thinking that, for example, we recently learned that UNICEF is now also has embraced the neuroscience to understand the early childhood growth by looking at and understanding how the brain actually develops through neuroscience, that we are understanding better the early childhood development and also the adolescent development. The knowledge is getting very deep with the aid of science, but at the same time, I was thinking, but yet, we understand very little about the world and the environment that today's adolescent children and youth have to face as they go forward in their lives. Very little, to be very, very honest. The youth and adolescent and what they're exposed to, all these practices of the businesses, sometimes which are also having negative impacts, the environmental degradation which has already happened and just waiting for it to hit our face, the climate change, and the rapid changing technology with all its opportunities, but also with its deep shadow. What do we know about this? As adults, we have not even grasped what is happening today. How do we, in this environment, continue to do something relevant for our children and be able to continue to provide simple, impactful solutions for our children and youth? In the end, when I look back in the last 70 years of UNICEF, I do believe, and I'm sure that all of you would agree with me, that the foundation of UNICEF is very, very strong. But looking forward, the challenges are just as deep. And that is why today I take this opportunity to actually call on all the government officials, our brothers and sisters of the UN family, our respected partners in the civil society, the media, the academia, and the youth, all of you, who will actually soon be making decisions for this nation, and the children who will carry us into the future. To all of you, I request, let us continue to work together in the decades to come. Once again, I thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you.